Michael Pearl at the door to answer another one of your questions. Does Revelation 3:5 infer that all people's names throughout history are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, but then blotted out at some point by God? That's a strange way to ask that question, Mark. Now, the Book of Life appears in the Bible 8 times. That's all. 8 times. 8 happens to be the number of fruitfulness, ongoing, fullness, plentifulness, new beginnings. And so it's a good new beginning, the Book of Life. Now, the Book of Life, he asked if it has to do with your name is there and then gets blotted out. If it got blotted out, that wouldn't make sense. Because it says clearly in the Bible that their names are written in the Book of Life from the foundation of the world. Let's read most of those 8 verses with the Book of Life. The only ones I'm leaving out are the ones that are redundant here. So this is complete representation of everything the Bible says about it. So first of all, the Book of Life is not a book of those who are just physically alive. Some preachers have taught, ministers have taught, that the Book of Life and the Lamb's Book of Life are 2 different things. That could possibly be, except there is evidence that that might not be the case too. Whosoever was not found written in the Book of Life was cast into the lake of fire. So the Book of Life is essential to get into heaven. Revelation 17:8. The beast that thou sawest was, is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. They that dwell on the earth will wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. So if the book of life is just a book of people who are alive, then why would it say whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world? At least if it were just people living, then everybody's name would be in it at one time or another, wouldn't it? There wouldn't be anyone who's ever left out of the book of life. And then Revelation 20, verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things that were written in the books, according to their works. So the book of life is going to be present in the day of judgment, along with the other books that record our deeds. With our modern time, you wonder why God keeps books. But on my computer, I've got books. Some people email on a MacBook and different things like that. So there's files and books in my computer. So God may keep it digitally, or he may have transferred to digital after Microsoft came along. I don't know. But he's got his books, and he's got them on everybody, and there are a number of them on each person. And they'll be judged out of those things written. Revelation 22:18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, and in other words, there's exactly 12,000 words in the book of Revelation. If anybody adds an extra word, so there's 13,000, like in some of your modern Bibles, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. If any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. So he says that if you mess with God's book, adding a word or taking a word out, God will take your name out of the book of life, which means when you get to judgment, it won't be there, and you won't make it into heaven. That's pretty clear. Revelation 21:27. There shall in no wise enter into anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. So again, here is the book of life and a word added to it, the Lamb's book of life. Now, I have thought in the past that the book of life and the Lamb's book of life might be 2 different things. But I look at it closer and I don't think so. I think they're the same. Revelation 13:8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names were not written in the book of life, slain from the foundation of the world. And then finally, here's the passage he was referring to, Revelation 3:5. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I'll confess his name before my Father. So God is saying that if you overcome, that is, if you endure in the faith and don't quit the faith, you overcome, that God will not blot your name out of his book. He will keep it there. So that in the day of judgment, when the books are opened, your name will still be there and you will not be damned. That's an encouragement that you need to continue to believe God so that your name won't be blotted out. Now, the obvious question is, has anyone's name ever been blotted out? I'm humbly going to have to confess to you that I've never been there, never looked at the books, and I really don't have any firsthand knowledge. I just don't know. So that answers that. All right, that's questions answered.